Let's see if I can do most of this in one take so I limit how much editing I have to do. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie and this is all about my life after gastric bypass surgery. And if you can believe it, it's already my 7-month update. This is hopefully going to be a quick update. One, because I happen to have most of the animals entertained for a bit of a moment and I have a very quick moment to film something. So I do want to get something up for my 7th month update. I don't have a huge, like, groundbreaking amount of things to talk about that I feel are different this month versus last month. But I'm going to quickly get into the stats right away just so that we have those. I've got a cat trying to get on my lap. Okay, so I've got a visitor and we're just gonna film through this. So I'm gonna throw up the stats first right away and get through that just because I think that's the main point of the, the monthly updates. Scoot, scoot, scoot. So at the beginning of the month, on actually June 1st, I weighed in at 261.4 pounds. And this morning was my weigh-in. It is the 6th, so technically it is 6 days beyond the 1 month point. So it is a little bit more than a month, so keep that in mind. But I weighed in this morning at 245.4. So that means I had a loss of 16 pounds even, and that is one of the most, I think, since the very, very first couple of months of surgery. Now, if I take into account that on average, I seem to lose about 3 pounds a week, and again, that's on an average, even if I were to subtract 3 pounds from that 16-pound loss, because I'm, you know, almost a week into July at this point, that's still 13 pounds in a month, and that's a little bit higher. I was kind of hovering around 11, 12 pounds a month. And so, I mean, I think it's still right around in there when we're talking about a couple pounds. But I am actually impressed, partially because this last month has been so stressful, so stressful. Maybe that's part of what I'm seeing. I know stress can go 2 ways. I mean, sometimes you pack on pounds when you're stressed, and sometimes you go the opposite and you lose weight because you're super stressed out. So I don't know if that was a factor or not. But the other thing that I kind of have been trying, partially just to try, but partially because of my stress and everything going on, I stopped tracking my food in my food tracker. And, you know, I think at first it was definitely like, I forgot to do that. I have so much going on. But then it became kind of a thought for me to try eating more intuitively and to try to see what it would be like if I just focused on eating healthy, eating to my satisfaction, not necessarily stopping weighing food out, although I didn't always weigh my food out, but just trying to be a little bit more intuitive with it and trying to see if I can just eat. One of the things that I did way more of this month was eat more fruits and vegetables. With this heat, I don't want to eat like a lot of meat, and I definitely don't want to eat things that are warm and cooked. Like, I find myself wanting to just have things to grab and go. And one of the things that ended up being were like vegetables and cut fruit that I purchased at the store. In the past, I was weighing out my fruit and only allowing like 2 or 3 ounces at a time, partially because I didn't want, you know, all of that sugar and everything, but I didn't want to fill my stomach up with those things and not eat the protein, because the protein is still the thing that they really recommend that you have the most of. You know, about 2 or 3 ounces of your 6-ounce meals should consist of protein. But I got so burnt out on protein. I'll be honest. I just, you know, I've tried different kinds of protein sources. I don't just stick to the same thing. Sometimes it's more cheese-based. Sometimes it's meat. Sometimes it's tofu. I mean, I do branch out in terms of where I'm getting my protein sources, but ultimately I just got really proteined out. And with everything going on and the weather, I just started, like, a couple of times I literally had dinner where it was just a corn on the cob and some cantaloupe. Oh my gosh, there's so much hair being shed everywhere as I pet her. I probably shouldn't do this. I tried to make sure that I was at least getting in one protein shake every day, though. I was going through, at the very beginning of the month, kind of a I'm protein shaked out phase too. Like, I've had nothing but protein shakes, and even though it's not much of a difference to make my own shakes in my Ninja, I still seem to have this hurdle in my brain that it takes a lot longer than just a pre-made shake. So I haven't been doing that. And I think that would really help me not feel so monotonous with the protein shakes. So I'd like to get back to doing that. But I was forcing myself to have the protein shakes because it is a really good, easy way to get 30 grams of protein. And if I was going to be allowing myself to have more fruits and vegetables, but not focus so much on the protein, I really needed to make sure that I was at least going to get it from a shake in the morning. Now, one of the things that I don't know, because I haven't been tracking my food, is whether or not I've been even getting close to those protein goals. I think the minimum is like 60 grams a day. That's recommended. So I don't know if I've been getting close. I know I've been getting the 30 from the shake, and I still do eat food with protein in it. So I don't know how close I'm getting. The downfall with this is that I'm still really feeling weak, and I'm really feeling it in my shoulders and my arms. Anytime I go and try to do something, if it involves lifting something up or moving something heavy or anything overhead, I'm really noticing a weakness in my arms and shoulders. And so I don't know if that got worse over the last month with not focusing on eating protein. I just know that they're very achy and they're very weak. I can feel like the bones and the muscles in my shoulders way more than I used to. There's so much less fat on my body now, and it just feels like there's not a lot of muscle there anymore. It's very bony in places of my body. So I'm really noticing that atrophy, and I know I talked about it in my last video, my 6-month update, but I still really need to start getting into at least some very mild weightlifting, and try to build some muscle. I'm not looking to get completely jacked yet, but I do think that it would be in my best interest to start building that muscle again. And then one of the other things that has happened, if you want the scoop on poop, is that I really feel like this last month has been very consistent with the kinds of bowel movements that are going on. It's been kind of all over the place. I know I've talked about it in the past. When I first finished the surgery, I had a really big issue with constipation, and it took a bit for things to get regular. I know that this surgery and everything I eat really does affect everything way different than it did before, but I noticed in this last month in particular, every single morning, like first thing after waking up, I had maybe 5 minutes of peace before I really had to go to the bathroom, like first thing. And it would always bring me out of bed. So it doesn't really matter what time I wake up. After about 5 minutes, I am jumping out of bed and having to go to the bathroom. And it's not as solid as I would like it to be. And I feel, the best I can describe is I feel kind of sick every morning. And then I feel much better after going to the bathroom, but it is consistent every morning. And it isn't necessarily based on what I ate the night before, as far as I can tell. And I'm not necessarily eating right before bed either. Most of the time I'm not. In fact, most of the time I'm going to bed and I'm a little bit hungry and wondering if I should have eaten something right before bed. I don't exactly know what's going on, and it is a little frustrating to basically feel sick every morning. I have to know that first thing I'm going to go to the bathroom and I'm going to be in there for a few minutes until I feel better. And then I can get on with my day, which the dog doesn't like, because as soon as I get out of bed, he thinks that it's time to do stuff and play, and he has to wait a few minutes while I get stuff under control. So it's frustrating, and I know that I've talked about it before, like every once in a while it's just really frustrating with the surgery, and like feeling nauseous or feeling sick or having weird poops, or you know, all these little things that aren't a problem all the time, but when they are consistently an issue, or you're consistently feeling a certain way, it can get a little bit frustrating. I am used to it at this point though, so although it is kind of like an eye roll moment, I have the routine down, and I know that I'm most likely going to feel that way in the morning, and thankfully it only lasts a few minutes, so there's that. Oh, one of the other things that happened is I kind of had my first shopping experience. I have a wedding to go to next month, and so I needed a dress. None of my dresses fit me anymore. So I went to the store. I decided I was going to go to Lane Bryant because I'm still in plus sizes, but honestly, barely. But I just wanted to know that I was gonna not have to be at the store for a really long time trying to figure out my size and going back and forth between things, or potentially finding a store that didn't quite go up to my size, because again, I don't really know what I'm at. So I went to Lane Bryant. I caved, and I had them measure me for a new bra because I was having such a hard time trying to find a bra that fit. None of my bras fit me anymore, and I pretty much exclusively live in sports bras at this point, mostly because they're easy, and it doesn't seem to matter how much weight I lose, they still fit perfectly fine. So an interesting thing is that she has me in the same size bra, although a different band size because I have lost weight, but she still had me in the same cup size, which I thought was bizarre because I really noticed this month that they are deflating. I really noticed it. There's a lot of extra skin, and that's the main thing. I think the reason I'm still the same cup size is because I still have all of that skin and tissue. They just aren't as plump as they used to be. And so they sit weird in bras. There's a lot of like extra skin and extra folds that weren't there before. So it's a little discouraging just because, you know, trying to get a bra that makes everything lift and look decent is getting harder to do. And honestly, it doesn't matter too much, but it's starting to get to the point where it's noticeable now that things are different. Things are sitting different than they used to. But I noticed in that shopping trip that I basically exist between a size 16 and 18 at this point, depending on the style of stuff. And that is insane to me. I started at a size 26. So I've lost about 10 sizes, which I can't even like fathom. I don't even know when I last wore a size like this. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate. You know, when I'm going to the store, I'm gravitating towards things that are bigger than what I am because it's still so very hard to see myself. It's so hard to see the changes on that extent. So it's very interesting to get like a number for the first time because I've gone 7 months without actually trying to buy new clothes other than, you know, some XL leggings at Costco. So there we go. That's my 7-month update. I am going to give this cat a lot more attention because she apparently is attention starved. And I'm going to go edit this really quick so that you guys can get it today, since this is supposed to be my normal day to upload. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.